Kind of what we're talking about all week long is the 4th of July. If you're traveling throughout the Carolinas and Florida, it's going to be a wet weekend. And that could make an impact to your holiday plans, but also on businesses counting on that boost from the holiday travelers. Welcome to another edition of Market Meteorology. Again, tonight we're going to be focusing in on how weather impacts the economy. I'm joined now by Fox Business Contributor Phil Flynn. Phil, the fireworks industry earned about $400 million from display fireworks in 2023. The city of Tampa spent $60,000 on their annual 4th of July fireworks show. So a lot of big money invested. So how crucial is this holiday weekend for local businesses and the cities that invest a lot and hoping that the community shows up and boosts the local economy?
Steve, it is critical, and happy Independence Day, my friend. But yes, this weekend for a lot of these, beach towns and these seasonal towns, this is their Christmas, 4th of July. This is the biggest part of their year. This is the part of the year where they either go into the black or into the red at the end of their fiscal year. So this weekend is huge. And when we start seeing those storms canceling fireworks displays, people pick up the phone, start canceling reservations, and it's not a pretty sight.
Yeah, we know that, this is a big draw for tourism. So beach towns in the Carolinas all the way through Florida is a popular place. Some people who check the weather beforehand, they've been our loyal viewers, Phil, said, hey, we might have to skip out on this year's destination. So what's that impact to hotels and short-term beach rentals if people decided, hey, we're going to skip out this year?
It could add up to millions. Now, a lot of these places have been booked for the entire year, and they've been counting on that revenue. Hopefully they have a waiting list right now, but if they don't have another venue, you're going to see cancellations, at the last minute, and that's going to be really hurting because, it's hard to say, hey, you're on a waiting list. It started to rain. Come on down. It's not a great sell. So, no, a lot of these people here, in these fireworks, there's a lot of money invested in these communities, and it's a good investment for them if it doesn't rain. Typically, whatever they spend on a fireworks display, whether it be 20,000, 50,000, millions, they almost get, double the triple of that in economic activity. Wow. You take that, economic activity away, that's a big hit to these communities that really count on it.
Yeah, big money spent, big money earned at this, but let's get to the cookouts now, Phil. Maybe you're not going to the festival. Maybe you're grilling in the backyard. But the American Farm Bureau Federation estimates that the retail price for ground beef has risen almost $7 a pound. That's actually due because of prolonged drought in the heartland. So meanwhile, the wet weather in the southeast is going to dampen the outside aspect of all of this. How important is it for farmers that the consumers still buy their products to offset that potential financial loss that they've felt so far during the drought?
It's going to be huge. The cattle farmers actually have done pretty well because cattle prices are at record highs. The problem is they don't have many cattle to sell, right? Yeah. The cattle herd has really been decimated in recent years, partly because of drought. So, yeah, they're not going to be able. I think we're going to be eating a lot more pork hot dogs, okay, normally. But, I don't know if you do this. This is the biggest hot dog eating day of the year, anywhere, probably in the world. In fact, we might set a record for eating hot dogs this holiday season. So, I think maybe, Steve, you should enter the Nathan's contest this way, see if you can make it this year.
I was eyeing it, to be honest with you, Phil, because I know Joey's back in it. I was seeing if they needed somebody to do the forecast. We're going to have that a little later, but he has a specific temperature that he likes, and this year looks a little hotter. So I think he's making excuses. I need to get myself in that event. I want to ask you, because it seems like we've been doing a lot of gloom, right? It's going to be wet. It's going to be soggy. Is there businesses that thrive, though, that when it rains, they actually capitalize on that opportunity?
20 years ago, I would have told you Blockbuster, right? Everybody say, oh, let's go rent a movie and go home and eat ice cream, right? But no, it's the movie theaters, it's restaurants, right? And so, people change plans. Either you have a bunch of kids, going, hey, we're going to the beach. Oh, it's raining, we can't go to the beach. Let's go see a movie. So Hollywood wins. The other ones that win, I hate to say it, it's the Fox Weather Network, because everybody's going to be at home checking their weather app saying, when's the weather going to stop? Can we make it to the beach or not? There you go.
Hey, you might hate to say it. I'd love to hear it. One thing I want to ask you about, Phil, is you're invited to the cookout, and I'm grilling. What do I need to throw on the grill for you? What is the choice?
I'm very eclectic, okay? Whatever you got, I will cook. Just as long as there's something cold to drink that goes along with it. That's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, we can make it happen. And we got to boost the local economies and the farmers. One aspect with this, actually, before we let you go, Phil, how long is the ripple effect of this? Let's say it is a washout this weekend. Is this something that impacts them all summer long, or is this, hey, next weekend we're going to capitalize and make up for it?
It could take an entire year. You know, they're hoping that, you know, if they miss this big opportunity, that the weather for the rest of the year is good. And then they hope that the weather then is spectacular on Labor Day. Because if you lose 4th of July, you don't make it up on Labor Day, you're probably not going to make it back until the end of the next season. And if you have 2 bad years in a row, that's really going to be a death knell for a lot of these businesses. So.
Yeah, something interesting to watch and to appreciate if you do get to see those fireworks and if you get a nice, good dog on the grill to enjoy that, because we know a lot of people, it's been difficult this year. Senior marketing analyst and Fox Business Contributor Phil Flynn, thank you for being with us, and happy 4th of July.